Okay, before we begin our lesson on modeling functions, we're going to look at some functions that have already been modeled for us. If you look down here at the bottom, we have 8 different graphs. We need to place them in the correct function or non-function section. If you recall last week, we talked about the vertical line test. So keeping that in mind, think about how you would place graph number 1, graph number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, graph number 1, function or non-function? Agree, I think it is a function. Graph number 2, right away, non-function I'm hearing. Graph number 3, Max thinks it's non-function. Clayton agrees. Graph number 4, you think it is a non-function, according to Eli. What about graph number 5? Function, says Zoe. Chloe says number 4 is a function, or number 6 is a function. What about number 7? Lila says function, so does Eric. How about 8? Nathan says not a function. Okay, are we correct? We are. Quick review on what is a function. Going to our notes today, that's going to play a big role because we're going to be talking about modeling functions. So you have your note sheet. This is video 1. Video 1 will cover the front side of your note sheet. Modeling functions. In your textbook, if you want to turn to page 263, that will begin, is where we will begin taking our notes today. Okay, if you look at page 263, it talks about modeling functions. 3 views of a function. Okay, there's 3 ways we can show a function. One way shows the relationship between variables. Another way identifies specific input and output values. And the last way gives a visual picture. You think you can guess the last way of the visual picture? You guessed it. Justin, it is a graph. A graph will give us a visual picture. Well, in order to get a graph, we need to have these other 2 functions, or these other 2 parts, these other 2 views. Okay? The first one is a function rule. Shows the relationship between the variable. This is our f of x notation. If f of x equals 2x minus 5, that is our function rule. Okay? How can we identify then the specific input and output values? Well, that is through a table where we create our x and our f of x, or your x and your y. Okay? So these 3 things are necessary in order for us to get to the 3 views of a function. So when we do this, you are going to be given a function, you're going to create a table, and then you're going to graph. Let's try that. First, step 1, fill in the blanks. Input values to make a table. Step 2, plot points for ordered pairs. Step 3, join points if it's continuous data. In video number 2, we're going to talk about what is continuous or discrete data. Okay, so we're inputting values, we're plotting points, and we're joining points. Let's try those 3 steps as we look at this function. F of x equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. Okay, we need to input values to make a table. I don't have any values for x. I get to pick them. I would choose at least 3 to 4 points. 4 is sometimes a little better. I have room today for 3. I usually choose a negative number, 0, and a positive number. So I'm going to choose, because I'm dealing with 1/2, I'm going to choose even numbers so that I don't have to deal with fractions. I'm going to choose -4, 0, and 2. So, step 1 was input values to make a table. Here's my values. Let's put them in. If x is -1/4, then I have -1/2 times -4 plus 1. -1/2 times 0 plus 1. -1/2 times 2 plus 1. Now, hopefully, we can do some of this as mental math. As we get to more complex functions, we may need to have more pencil paper time. But -1/2 times -1/4, half of 4 is 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. 2 plus 1 is 3. So my f of x value is 3. -1/2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. -1/2 times 2, half of 2 is 1. A negative times a positive is a negative. -1 plus 1 is 0. Okay? Input values to make a table. Step 2. Plot the points of the ordered pairs. So my xy is going to be -4, 3, 0, 1, 2, 0. Okay? I'm going to graph, step 2, plot the points of the ordered pairs. Here we go. -4, 3, 1, -4, 3, 0, 1, 2, 0. Lastly, join the points, continuous data. I could put in any number and I will get information on all of these points here. Okay? If you really want to get involved, typically then you would write the function on your line. This line is showing f of x equals -1/2 x plus 1. Okay? I would like for you to try to compare this graph and create a model rule for quick check 3. 3x plus 4. Try to do 3x. You can use the same graph if you would like. 3x, f of x equals 3. Mix it all up. Start over. F of x equals 3x plus 4. That's the end of video 2. We will check this one on